The air in Kigali trembled with the hum of fear and static. Inside a small mud brick house, Jean-Paul, a young radio technician, twisted the dial, catching the voice of Radio Télévision Libre des Mille Collines. "Cut down the tall trees," the voice hissed. Jean-Paul froze. Those words were no longer code. They were death sentences. His neighbor, Immaculée, a soft-spoken teacher, banged on his door. "Turn that off, Jean-Paul, it's poison." But he couldn't. The station paid him to keep the transmitters alive. He told himself he was just a worker, not a killer. 2 nights later, the hills glowed red. Jean-Paul walked home, stepping over machete blades glinting under torchlight. He saw Immaculée's house door broken open. A doll lay in the mud, her daughter's. He dropped to his knees, whispering, "God, what have we done?" But before he could pray further, a soldier in a dirty uniform pointed a gun at him. "You work for the radio?" Jean-Paul nodded slowly. "Then you're with us," the soldier said, lowering the rifle. Jean-Paul walked away, shaking. Was survival the same as guilt? Weeks later, he sought sanctuary in Nyamata Church, where hundreds of Tutsis hid. The stench of fear filled the air. Babies muffled, women clutching rosaries. Immaculée was there, alive but hollow-eyed. She whispered, "You could have stopped them." Jean-Paul looked at her bleeding hands and said nothing. Outside, chanting grew louder. "Inyenzi!" Cockroaches. Then, screams. The door cracked open under gunfire. Jean-Paul grabbed Immaculée's child and ran toward the back exit. Bullets ripped through the wooden pews. He escaped through a broken window, alone. Months passed. The war ended. Jean-Paul, now silent and broken, wandered near Lake Muhazi, dumping old radio parts into the water. He hoped the lake would swallow his past. But one day investigators arrived. A UN officer said, "You were the one who maintained the signal at Nyamirambo station, right?" Jean-Paul froze. Those broadcasts reached every machete in Kigali. He shook his head. "I didn't speak the words." "But you kept them alive," the officer replied. That night, Jean-Paul confessed to Immaculée, who now testified for the tribunal. She stared into the lake's reflection and said quietly, "The voice that kills doesn't always speak. Sometimes it just listens." At the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, Jean-Paul's name appeared on the list of media propagandists. But when the prosecutors played an old tape of the radio, a shocking voice came through. Immaculée's, "Brothers, defend yourselves. The enemy is near." Jean-Paul turned pale. She had recorded that broadcast months before, forced at gunpoint, and he had replayed it unknowingly. Both had been victims and accomplices of a machine larger than themselves. As the gavel struck, silence filled the courtroom. Jean-Paul whispered, "In Rwanda, guilt has no clean hands." Years later, in a rebuilt Kigali, Immaculée lit a candle in the church where it all began. Jean-Paul's voice echoed faintly from a memorial audio. A confession turned into a warning for generations. The flame flickered, reflecting on the words engraved in Kinyarwanda, "Ntituzongera kwibagirwa." We will never forget. Like and subscribe for more gripping, real-life inspired stories that reveal the human soul behind history.